All right, the champ is here. The champion Deontay Wilder is giving an interview to Ring Magazine. Very interesting insights into his view of what happened with Tyson Fury and what happened against the Tyson Fury fight. But also, some caveats, man, about this next fight coming up. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back. So Deontay Wilder gives an interview to Ring Magazine, and he talks about the Tyson Fury fight. The most significant thing that he says about that is that Tyson Fury is not the champ yet. And I had said that before in other videos, and it is a way of looking at it that it's about right. But let's talk about that. But before I talk about that, I want to say about the tone, talk about some of the other things that Deontay Wilder said in the interview. Now, there was a lot of, just to backtrack, to give you a little background, I'm sorry, because I got to remember some people don't know all the facts that happen, that lead up to this, so I just got to go very briefly through the background. Deontay Wilder is was the heavyweight champion of the world, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. Deontay Wilder fought Tyson Fury 2 times. The first time was a draw. The second time, Tyson Fury won by 7th round TKO. And now Tyson Fury is the WBC champion. There was a rematch clause in the contract for both fighters in that fight, which is just so highly unusual. But it is for a rematch clause for both fighters, which means they knew that there was going to be a third fight. This third fight was going to happen regardless of who won the fight. If Deontay Wilder had beaten Tyson Fury, we would be having a rematch. Tyson Fury beating Deontay Wilder, we're having a rematch. That was actually in the plans before the fights were made. They knew that they were going to do this. Either way you cut it, the last fight was going to determine who the champion is until that third fight happens, neither one of them can fight anybody else. And they go on about, and then after that, they can go on about their business, have a unification fight or have a fight for undisputed with the winner of Anthony Joshua versus Pulev, what have you. But that was the arrangement that was set up going into the fight. What Deontay Wilder said, so there's rationale, so that is the basis of the rationale that Deontay Wilder is using, and I'll address that in a second. And before that though, Deontay Wilder did talk about his performance, and in the article, he's pretty much put it all on himself. He said that wasn't me that night. There's a lot of things that were off. There's a lot of things that are wrong. Most of the stuff that happened in that fight were the last 15 minutes of the fight. And, that wasn't me. You can just look at, how I performed in other fights and how I go about doing things. And that just wasn't me that night. Now, last time I checked, that's not an excuse. That's somebody saying that it wasn't me. Because if it isn't you, if you're feeling like you did not perform all the way up to your best of your capabilities, then that's not an excuse. That's just you saying, man, I could do a better job. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I was not myself. And one of the things that he says is that he was pushing me backwards. I don't go back. I come forward. I don't go backwards. A lot of different things that he was saying in there. You could tell. I didn't hear his voice, obviously. I'm reading. I'm reading the quote, but it seemed to me like he just was really like, man, I can do a lot better than that. That was not me. There's a huge difference between the first fight and just look at the first fight versus the second fight. There's just so many things that were off and wrong that it's just, maybe I'll talk about them later at some other point in time, but not right now. Now, I thought that, I would love to actually hear the excerpts, of the questions I would love to hear the questions that are asked that prompt the responses. When we read a lot of these interviews, they will use the way that they write the article is that they will ask him some questions, right? They'll have a conversation with him and they'll transcribe everything that he says. But when they put what he says into an article, you don't know what the specific question was, what the question and what the energy was from the person that was interviewing him, right? to make him answer the question in that way. So when he's saying, there's a bunch of stuff going on, even the mask, he said, even when you saw me take off the mask, just something wasn't right. But I'm not going to talk about it now. Maybe as we get closer to the fight, I might talk about some of the things, but I'm not talking about it. So for me, I'm reading what he said, and it seems to me like he's just being asked a bunch of questions and asked to give excuses for the loss, and he refuses to give them. And he's just like, look, man, it wasn't me that day. There's a bunch of stuff that was off. It's not just the mask. I take the mask off, even after that, I was still messed up or whatever. It just seemed like that's what he was trying to do in the interview, is he was trying to give an answer, but not give an answer at the same time. And that the interviewer, more than likely, because that's how these people roll, man. That the interviewer, who was the guy that wrote this article? This was in a PBC podcast that was a podcast on Wednesday. So yeah, this was an interview. I'll have to listen to the podcast, but he says things like, you don't go backwards, you move forwards. And that night I wasn't myself. There are a lot of things I can't say. We can only get stronger and learn from situation and get better. In my eyes, I don't see Tyson Fury as a champion. It's still going. He ain't champion yet. We still got one more fight left. There's going to be a time and place when I'll come out looking at the fight. Fury knows that wasn't me. I know it wasn't me. Everybody in not boxing knows it wasn't the real Deontay Wilder. So it's short amount, that's what he says. Now, why would he say that you're not the champion? Because there's one more to go. For the exact same reason that I'd explained in the beginning of the video. If you know Tyson Fury has to fight Deontay Wilder again, and it really didn't matter, the agreement was for 2 fights. So Deontay Wilder's agreement was pretty much, hey man, if you can beat me twice, you got to beat me twice to be a champion. And the agreement for Tyson Fury with Deontay Wilder is, Deontay Wilder, you got to beat me 2 times to be the champion. So as of right now, it's still up in the air, man. But that would only be to the extent that you believe that the championship rests between the 2 men themselves, right? Like, who's the better man, me or you? Similar to the idea of a lineal champion, where it's the man who beat the man, right? Similar to that idea, in that I have to beat you 2. Whoever wins the last fight is going to be the champion, whether it's a split between the 2, because that would even it out, right? Yeah, it would even it out. It'd be 1-1 with a draw. So if Deontay Wilder won the last fight, technically speaking, if he won the last fight, they probably should have had another one, because you have a draw and you have split. But if Tyson Fury wins it, it's a wrap and he's the champion. It is what it is. And if he wins the last one, there's really nothing else. If he can win that last fight, there's really nothing else you can say. However, we do have a problem, man. Not everything is gravy out there because of what's going on with this virus. Deontay Wilder is from the United States, and Tyson Fury is from the UK, and as of right now, the borders are closed. And there's no guarantee that when life is getting back as close to regular as it's going to get in the United States, for people that live in the United States and for sporting events that happen in the United States, like the NBA or the NFL or Major League Baseball, the vast majority of those people's games are in the United States. Now, there is no Canadian football team. There are Canadian baseball teams and Canadian basketball teams, but those are just a small number of teams, maybe 2. I think it's like, what is it? The Expos in baseball and Toronto Expos. If that's right, man, I suck at baseball. And then you have, the Raptors. You have the Raptors, Toronto Raptors in basketball. But they could just find a neutral site in the United States to play their games in, if they can actually get their citizens over, if they can get their players over there. But that is a lot less of a problem than it is in boxing, where a lot of the championship belts are held for people between countries. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder being one. But anyway, there's just no guarantee. There's no guarantee that the borders are going to be open in the United States for things like that. That shit could be in the middle of 2021. So if that's the case, how are Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury how are they gonna fight each other? If Deontay Wilder can't go to the UK and Tyson Fury can't come to the United States, it's gonna be a difficult fight to make, man. You know what I mean? And it's going to be but Tyson Fury, it's going to be difficult either way because Tyson Fury let go of his boxing license. He let go of his boxing license in the UK. So it's not even like it's a ready-made, available fight for him to have with Anthony Joshua. It's just so much stuff that is that's just up in the air around this because of this corona stuff that you just don't know. But I respect Deontay Wilder coming out and, I think he's accepting responsibility that it was himself, that he didn't perform up to his capabilities, that he believes he can have a better performance and he's a better fighter than what he showed. And seeing as he had a better showing against Tyson Fury the first time, yeah, I think there might very well be some truth to that. But hopefully we'll get to see in the third fight, but I just don't know how quickly that's going to be. Anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.